Hello, scientists. Welcome to this short video where I am going to demonstrate how to plot temperature from Google Sheets. So this picks up with some of the activities that we started in class. Hopefully you have about a week and a half of data so far. Remember, the goal is to have about 2 weeks of temperature data. Um, now, so my objectives, we're going to do a little bit of formatting of the data so it makes it easy to plot. We're going to calculate a temperature difference using a formula between the high and low temperature of the day, and then we'll plot temperatures of two different locations. And something I'll point out that the data that I'm going to show you does not include what the temperature did when I took this picture. So I took this picture yesterday, and that was the 11th of October in 2020. It's starting to look pretty beautiful here in Ogden with the foliage. Okay, I'm going to jump over to my spreadsheet. This is pretty similar to the one that we set up in class, but instead of saying location 1 and location 2, I have actual names of the locations. So the two places that I'm comparing are Ogden and Eden. And from where I got this weather data on the National Weather Service webpage at weather.gov, it actually points out that this observation station is on the East Bench. There is another weather station in Ogden at the airport, but I went for the East Bench one just because it's closer to where I live. Okay, so I have the date, I have the names of the locations. I've already put in difference. One thing I'm gonna tidy this up a little bit by highlighting those columns, and if I adjust the width on one of them, it will make it the same on all. Okay, so maybe that's a little too tight. I'm just gonna widen that out. This will just make it easier for when we make our chart shortly. And this date one we can also push over. Okay. Something else you'll notice that I have these, what's called the text is wrapping, so I can access that right here. By default, it's going to look like this, so it will crop off the names. But if I do that wrap, then it will create another line and put that on there. Okay, so the first thing, so that's a little bit of formatting. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to use a formula to calculate the difference between the high and the low temperature. So I'm just going to hit the equal sign, and then I'm going to select the first value is the high, and then I'm going to hit minus, and then I'm going to click on the cell that contains the low. So I'm subtracting the low from the high. If I hit enter, it'll calculate the difference in degrees. And then if I click on this little blue square in the corner right here, that will highlight, that's called the click to fill command. So now I can spread that formula throughout, okay? Once again, I'm going to repeat that. So I'm going to hit the equal sign. I'm going to select on the high for Eden in that row. I'm going to hit minus. Then I'm going to click the low, subtracting the low from the high. Once again, we'll use the fill command by dragging this little blue square all the way down. Okay, so now I have everything I need to create a table. I have my table. Now I can create a chart. And I find it most easy to use to have columns next to each other that I want to graph together. So I'm just going to use the most basic formula, just an equal sign, to copy some of this information over to the right a bit. And I practice this, so there's my practice. I'm going to delete that. Okay. So you'll notice that I'm just going to skip a cell, and then I'm going to come over here, and maybe I'm going to say this is going to be, I know I'm going to have my date. I'm going to compare, and I'm going to do low temperatures. So I'm going to do date, Ogden low, Eden low. Okay? So I'm going to click on that top cell. I'm going to hit equals, and I'm just going to click on Ogden low. Sorry. Equals, first I want the date. So I'm going to click date, hit enter. Use that fill command to get that all in there. So there are all my dates. And I'm doing this so I can have the columns that I want in my graph next to each other. I'm going to use the equal sign, and I'm going to click now Ogden low, enter, and I'll click back to that cell, use the fill command, come all the way down. There are all the Ogden low temperatures for those dates. One more formula equals, I'm going to do Eden low, enter. Okay. And I'll use the fill command to get that all in there. Now if I highlight all of this, I can just go ahead and click this insert chart button. And since I'm giving it 2 columns by date, Google's pretty smart. It kind of knows what my data is. So it knows that this is a date. It plots that along the bottom. And then it gives me 1 line for each of the locations. So you'll notice that the Ogden low is a little higher than the Eden low. Okay, and I can, if I want, I can customize this. So you might want to mess around with some of these settings. For our purposes, as long as it is set to a line chart, I think it should be pretty good. We could try. Here's Ogden low with bar graphs, column charts. I think I'm going to stick with the line. Okay, so that gives me my chart. And let's say I wanted to practice that a little more. I want to make one more. Let me just highlight these. Whoops. I'm going to highlight these columns. I'm going to shrink this a little bit. Okay, that might be a little too much. And we'll do that one more time. So now I'm going to come over and grab the date, enter, and this time I'm going to grab the difference. We can look at differences. So I'm going to say Ogden difference, and then maybe equals Eden difference. Okay, and then I don't want to highlight these all together. Let's see if that works. That worked. Yeah, I could just do them all 4 together. Okay. Let's see. Now I can highlight this all and click the chart. And now I have the differences. And maybe I want to fix the language on that a little bit. So I might want to say Ogden. Maybe I want to revise this. Maybe difference between high and low daily temperatures. Okay, and then this way that says Ogden difference, Eden difference. So it looks like there's a greater difference between highs and low in Eden. And I'm not sure why that is, but that might be something for us to investigate. So thank you for watching this video. I think we accomplished all our objectives, and I hope I look forward to seeing your data next week. Thanks for watching.